Question mark? Question mark? Hello. Howdy, 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 and hello. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning to all. How are you doing today? Don't mind my natural dreadlocks. Pay no attention to these natural dreadlocks. Too much hair, not enough time to style. What's going on, everybody? A wee hee hee. Coffee and cream. Dude is doing drywall in the hallway and playing classical soul music. He's got good taste. He's got good taste. I know you won't leave me. I'm making taco pie. You ever had one of those? Is that like a casserole thing? If so, then yes. It's like a baked thing that you make, then yes. I've had taco pie before. Taco pie. It's time for you and I to eat our taco pie. Sogtacular. I mean, yeah, like I prefer like enchiladas and stuff because like taco pie, it kind of gets soggy, right? Am I right or am I right? Pie oh my. Now I want huevos rancheros. You do? You do? What is one song you wish you could play on an instrument? Allegro Barbaro by Béla Bartók on the piano. That would be dope. Béla Bartók, Allegro Barbaro. My favorite piece of classical music. I think you're banned. That's what I think about it. Like, how are you guys up this fucking early and already coming with the troll shit? This early. Look, my eyes can't even open all the way yet. That's how early it is. You know it's early when you can't even open your eyes all the way. And you already got the troll thing going on. 24/7, man. Jesus. Just chill the fuck out. The trolls never sleep. It's true. They never do. The trolls love me. I know. Look, dude, I've brought the trolling upon myself. That's the truth of it. And I'll tell you why. Because I myself am such an incorrigible troll that all the other trolls try to troll me as a way of like, you know how like a kid will play extra hard in football or whatever to because their dad's watching, you know? Like, that's what it is. Because I, myself, am such a ridiculous troll. All these other, like, pretenders to the troll throne. Like, knocking on my door, not literally, knocking on my internet door, figuratively. Constantly screaming at me. Trolling day, trolling night. I wouldn't say I'm the troll master. I would just say that I'm a well-seasoned troll. You know what I mean? There's probably tons of people that are better at trolling in various aspects than I am, but there's not a lot of people around that have been doing it for as long as I have. See, I'm a firm believer that true trolls are born, not made. There's a lot of people out there who are like technically trolls, but are they good at it? No, they're not good at it. They're like amateur at best, you know. And then there are people that are really fucking good at it, you know. People that have been doing it forever in various ways, have tried various attempts, various methods to their madness, you see. And they come up with it, and they hone it, and they perfect various ways of doing it. Right, Sacha Baron Cohen, etc. Trolls. How are you or were a troll? I mean, I've told the story of my troll history here many times, but I have extensive early life history with trolling. I started trolling with actual consequence involved when I was like 10 years old, bro. 10. This is before the internet. So when I say with actual consequence involved, I mean like I was trolling on the CB radio, which can be like tracked. You can be tracked via your signal. So that's how I started trolling. I started what I like to call trolling with actual consequence when I was like 10. So I continued doing that style of trolling all the way up through my early high school years, and then got shut down by the FCC. And then I took it to like online games, which were at that time pretty nascent things. They were the new troll ground, right? So I found myself falling in with a group of people who played online games not to enjoy the game, but to fuck with other people, at a place called PKHQ, which is now defunct. And it was a group of basically like trolls who enjoyed getting a rise out of people in the online gaming sphere and would post, you know, tips and tricks and trade stories back and forth of our exploits in the game. I did that. And, now, like at this point in my life, I have a career trolling. So, what games did you troll in? The earlier games that I trolled in were, I used to troll in Quake 2 quite a bit. Quake 2, the early multiplayer games had team kills turned on. There were ways that you could just like camp a spawn. Like I would camp spawns a lot in Quake 2. So I would hop into a multiplayer match, camp a spawn, like because I was good at the game. I knew where all the good weapons were, so I would get there and or wait for everybody else to get there and kill each other, then get one of the good weapons and go camp the spawn somewhere in the room where nobody would see and just sit there and fucking zap them as they all came in to try and pick up the good weapon, or go to the places where people will spawn and camp them. The first, like real actual trolling though that involved finesse and stuff that I did was in a game called Ultima Online, which, is in my opinion, still the greatest MMORPG ever made. But that game, allowed you to really like fuck with a person, like you can steal their house, steal their boat. If they were stupid, you could con them out of their pants basically. And so that really like was when I started doing it there. The community that I was part of, that PKHQ place, were a bunch of trolls. So obviously we trolled each other. We went and trolled other communities. Yeah. So those are my trolldentials. I was actually visited by the FCC for trolling. The house story is still my favorite troll for me. That one was it's pretty fucking mean. Because it was like mean enough that I took the dude's house. I'll tell that one again. Because fuck it. There's only 60 people in here. You guys can hear it again. So in this game, you could steal from people. And that was my specialty in the game, was stealing. I was kind of out in the wilderness in a place where a lot of miners operated. People would mine for ore, and then, they would take the ore back to their place, and then they would, sell the ore or use it to do smithing or whatever the fuck, right? Who cares? I never fucked around with that. So I came upon this mark, was mining, and I watched him for a little bit, hidden, and he would mine until his inventory was full, and then he would run, and I kind of followed him a little bit, and I saw he was going to a house that was not that far away. So I knew he had the key on him. He was keeping the key in his inventory somewhere. And so while he was gone, I kind of went to the vein that he was mining and hid right next to it, so that when he came back and started mining, he stood right next to me so I could rifle through his shit unabated. I started going through his bags, and sure enough, right there on the top layer of his backpack, not even in a pouch within a pouch, which is what a lot of people used to do to make it harder for thieves to steal important shit. He just had it in his backpack because he didn't give a fuck. He thought he was smart. There's his key, just sitting there. A key is one of the easiest things to steal, by the way. It's like if you see one in a backpack in Ultima Online, and you have any stealing skill at all, you're gonna succeed. It's like the easiest thing to steal in the game. So I clipped it. Yoink, stole his key. And because I could see that he wasn't armed in any way other than the pick he was using, I just ran off. Like if I really wanted to do it right, I would have stayed there until he realized it. But really, I wanted to get the ball rolling because I figured that I had a copy. See, in Ultima, when you bought a house, you were given a master key. And that master key was like your deed to the house. And from that master key, you could go to an NPC to make copies. But if somebody had a copy of your key, right? So if a thief like me stole a copy of your key, you could go take the master key and have your locks changed. So I assumed that I had a key copy. So I was like, time is of the essence here because this dude is going to run back to town, get a new master key, get his locks changed, and then I'm going to be locked in or locked out. One way or the other, I'm only going to be able to get so much off this guy. So anyway, I bolt. He sees me. I bolt for his house. I know exactly where it is. I let myself in. I close and lock the door behind me. About 10 seconds later, as I'm looting, I see the dude outside, and he's just standing by the door. So I went over to the door so I could see what he was saying, and he was like, "Please let me in. Please give me my key, please. It's the only key I have, blah, blah, blah. Please let me in. Please." He was just begging, right? Begging for his shit. And I was like, why doesn't this guy just go back to his bank and change the fucking lock? And then I look at the key for the first time, and it's a master key. And I was like, I just stole this guy's house. I now own this dude's house. So I marked a rune immediately, teleported back to the bank, went to the NPC that changed the key, got the lock changed on the house, recalled back right into the house. The dude was still standing out there. And from inside the house, I changed the sign on the house, which said something like, Jogo Warthammer's smithing or some shit. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. And I changed it to Ho's Hut because my character's name famously was Toothless Crackho. So I changed it to Ho's Hut. And to be honest with you, this is why this is mean, right? Because I didn't even need the house. I had a house. I had a bunch of houses. I had a couple houses. I had a couple boats. I'm not trying to brag or anything, but this time, like I had money in the game. But I saw how desperate this dude was to get his house back. And it engaged my troll sense so hard that I decided that I would keep the house and fuck with the guy. And so I used it as a little base of operations, and dude would come by. Like months later, dude would come by and ask if he could have his house back. No, you can't. Pretty fucked up. There's a lot of detail I left out of the story. I guess it's important to mention that I dry looted his house multiple times in the game. It's important to mention that. Because I didn't use the house very much, dude did have a copy of this key. And so he started using the house again, right? I had a rune marked inside the house and I owned it. But he had a key copy. So he would let himself in and started using the house as like a base of operations again. And I would just loot the house again. I would wait like 2 or 3 months until he built up another stock of stuff. And then I would just go, oh, let's go check on that little farm. And like everything the dude had made, like done in the game was in there. I'd leave it like literally like there wasn't a crumb on the ground. It was like the Grinch that stole Christmas came. Dude, houses were expensive. He was probably trying to save up for another house. You're a mean one. Dude, my whole scam was mean. People would save up money and they'd work extra hard and extra legitimately for it, you know? Like, I chop wood for hours until I have a bunch of logs, and then I make those logs into bows for hours until I get better at making bows so I can make better bows. And then and I sell those to people, and then I scrimp and I save and I do all this shitty fucking work in the game to save up for X, right? A house was like the pinnacle achievement, and there were various levels of it in Ultima. A boat, having a boat was fly because it let you get to some islands that you couldn't get to without a boat, number one, and then also it gave you basically a secure place to store a bunch of shit. It was like a little house on the water. It's cool to have a boat. Certain types of armor in the early days, like there were certain types of armor that only a grandmaster smith could make, plate armor usually just came in silver, but you could get it in bronze, black, and gold. All three were pretty popular. And being a thief and a scammer, I had suits and suits of this shit in different colors, and I would use it to scam people out of their money. So I would go to the bank. Now think about this. You're a dude that's working on the legit. You've just spent probably like 12 in-game hours, right? Doing boring shit in the game to save up enough money to buy a cool suit of armor that's a different color than most people have, because they were expensive. I can't remember what they were going for back then, but they were expensive. It took a long fucking time to make up enough money to get a full suit of dark black plate or a full suit of gold plate or whatever it is you want. I had all that shit, just stealing it and looting it. So I would go to the bank and I would say, selling full plate armor, all colors. And I would price it about 10% or 15% below what the asking price usually was. This is how you get a sucker on the line. They think they're getting a deal, right? So let's say, I don't remember the prices, but let's say the normal price for a full suit of black plate was 10,000 gold. Okay. I would say 7,500 gold or 8,000 gold, right? And these people would, being greedy, and because money meant so much to them in the game, because they spent their fucking days and nights doing literal labor in a game, you know what I mean? They would go like, oh, fuck. Yeah. This dude doesn't know. He's way below price on this. Well, no, not RuneScape. What do you take me for? I look like a fucking pleb to you? Fucking RuneScape. Get out of here. No, this is Ultima Online. Anyway, there was a thing back in Ultima where you would draw, if you wanted to trade, you would drag and drop something onto a person. It would bring up a trade window. On one side is what you're offering, on the other side is what the other person is offering, and then you both have to check it to go. So the idea of it is that I would put the full suit of plate armor in the window. The guy would put his gold in the window. I would put the full suit of plate armor in a bag in the window. And it was a very timing based thing. It was a dangerous scam, but once you got audacious enough to pull it off, it worked almost every time. The old switcheroo, yeah. So what would happen is they would hover over the bag, double click it, see the pile of gold inside of the bag, right? And they would hover over that to see, or I would hover over that to make sure that they had given me enough. While they're doing that, I switch out the bag for a bag that's just got nothing in it. So while they're digging through the bag, once they've closed that out and they're about to check their box, I pull the bag out and put another bag in its place. They check the box, I check the box, they get an empty bag, and I get 8,500 gold for 25 seconds of work. That took them like 12 hours of chopping trees or whatever the fuck grunt work they did in the game. Over, done with. I throw my shit in the bank, I teleport away. I would literally, like, I got to the point where I didn't even gloat or revel in it. I would pull it off, and as that guy was going, hey, this guy scammed me, I would teleport away, go to another bank, and I'd just start immediately there. Armors of all colors, blah, blah, blah. It's like, just dupes at every bank. Dupes at every bank. Doodly 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 doo. I was so rich in that game. I wasn't as rich as some of like the wealthiest players in the game. Like I didn't have castle money, but I was well off, let's put it that way. I had several vacation homes, a couple of luxury boats, you know, and didn't do a fucking thing for any of them other than scam somebody out of it that got it legitimately. There was like a, scam, a deed scam, where like you could buy, like I had enough money I could buy deeds to some of the smaller houses and stuff. Well, houses went for a lot of money. Let's say like 20,000 gold or whatever estimate. And so I would do the same scam, right? But a blank deed and an actual deed for the house, the sprite for it looks the same. So the same scam works. I put the real deed in the trade window. They put 20 or whatever, 18,000 gold in the trade window. They hover over it, and then I have to time it in my mind. I'm thinking, okay, they're hovering, now they're heading to the jewel, and then I switch it. I put a blank deed, and then their check mark goes live, and then mine goes live. They check their box, I check mine, they get a blank deed that costs about 50 gold, and I get enough to go buy another house. And literally all the work they did just went down the boops. Ever got caught? Oh yeah. I mean, that was part of it. Like there would be somebody that'd be like, hey, you just tried to switch the deed. You don't even engage. You just teleport away and start again at another bank. Like not every scam goes off, but if you're good, you can hit up 3 or 4 of those dudes in a day. You know what I mean? Is this EverQuest? No, Ultima. Did you like swap palettes so they didn't catch on? Portals, get your portals, get them on. Swap palettes. To be a fly on the wall watching you play that game, do you imagine he cried? I don't know if that dude cried or not, but I don't know, dude. Sorry I missed your super chat earlier, Noble. Fuck you, piece of shit. Was there not admins keeping an eye out for this? There were, but if you were smart about it, like I had a name that was all misspelled and shit, and it was long for a reason. People like, in order to report you, they had to remember who you were, you know? As a thief, you could do these incognito things. Like you could get a disguise kit if you had a certain amount of thievery, and it would change your name and the way your character looks. So it's like, how do they report you? Who do they report? You know what I mean? You change up your look every once in a while. You can't change your name, but as a thief, like I said, you got a disguise kit. So you can run these scams in a disguise kit. It's just like, and back in the day, that type of stuff was like condoned almost. Like thieves and scammers and confidence men, like they were supposed to be part of the world. You know what I mean? Like you had to be careful playing the game. You had to be smart playing the game. If you weren't smart playing the game, then you got taken. You got taken for a ride. No, it was a fun game. It was fun while it lasted. I don't really think the switcheroo that I was doing was all that fair, to be frank with you. So, if I probably could have gotten banned if I was caught doing that, but how are they going to prove I did anything like that? You know what I mean? You could have different characters run your scams for you. Like, I would, have other characters stashed in my house, or one of my houses, which had a lot of crap in it, so I could dress up. Like, the great thing about Ultima is that nobody could tell what your skill level was, or how long, or if you were a legit character just by looking at you. So you had a bunch of alts that were like master woodcutters or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? And you would use them, if your name got too hot in a city for pulling a scam, then you would go use one of your alts to do it. It's like the money never stops rolling in because there's just an endless supply of dumb people. Like, one of the scams I've never talked to you about was just trying to get a person to come out in the wilderness with you. Like, we would, do that recruitment scam where we told everybody that, we would tell people we had this, like, island where, they kept all this or kept all that. They had infinite armor or infinite money or infinite, chests filled with all the stuff they need to play the game, and all they got to do is take a leap of faith and join us or whatever the fuck. So, like, some of that was about getting people to empty their bank accounts, but some of that was about getting higher level people to just walk out of town with you. So you just kill them. They just like, oh yeah, we don't keep the boat at the docks. We keep the boat up here at the shore. Just walk up with us. It's just north of the town, and you get out of the guard zone and then you and your friend just fucking whack him and loot his corpse dry. Like, who's gonna stop you? You know what I mean? I love it. That was one that you couldn't pull all the time because you got enough murder counts, you went red, and then you couldn't go into cities anymore. So you had to wait for murder counts to fall off. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I've never, when placed in situations like that, like, there are certain games that are designed around team play, and I'm not a troll in those, usually. Like, I don't go into people's Dota games or fucking Heroes of the Storm games and just like, lol, I'm just gonna sit here and do nothing. That's just, you know what I mean? That's low-level trolling. There's really no consequence to that, other than you get your account banned because you get reported. Now, you can do some, like, higher level trolling by actually participating, but just, like, feeding on purpose and shit, or doing things that actively fuck your team up. But I just don't have the heart for that shit anymore. You know what I mean? So if it's like a game where it's just designed around team play and shit, or cooperation is built into the game, in some fashion, like I'm usually pretty good about it. But if there's a game that allows conflict, I'm not good about it. Like if the core of the game is built around conflict between players, like then you know I'm gonna be an asshole. What's going on in the world today? People fighting, feuding, looting. It's okay. Let it go. Let it flow. Let the good times roll. Tell 'em, Dre. Paul, what's an expensive game you wish you still had from your past? I don't really know what games cost. You know what I mean? I don't follow what games are super expensive and shit. I had a lot of old Nintendo games. A lot of classics. I don't know if they're expensive games now, hard to find games or whatever, but I had a lot of old Nintendo games, for the original NES. I had a lot of Genesis games, Sega CD games. I don't know what's worth what, but I don't have any of it anymore, so. Yeah, I never had any sealed games. We are farmers. Bum ba dum bum 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 bum. I saw this really kind of sad video. He was it was a TikTok guy, and he was just in case you don't think that commercials are effective. And he went out in public with a loudspeaker and filming himself. And he was we are farmers, and 10 people just randomly standing around would go bum ba-dum bum 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 bum. And then he'd go to a different part of town. It was a compilation video. He would go to a different part of town and he'd go Red Robin, and then 10 people would go yum. Just oh boy. He one of the ones he did, it looked like he was in Central Park, and he went out and he was I have a structured settlement and need cash now. And then not as many people, but 2 or 3 people were call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now. It's just holy fuck, bro. Oh my god. Just like automatically. Like they hear it and they have to stop whatever they're doing in their day to sing it. How fucked up is that? That our brain, that it's embedded that deep in our fucking heads. That like there's a bunch of us that like we hear it out in public with no context and we have to stop what we're doing and find who did it and sing back to them. Finish it. It's like dystopia, dude. That's why, dude. That's why when people say like, "Hey, Paul, like when's the dystopia coming?" I'm like, just fucking look around, bro. Take a look. It's in a book. Fucking dystopia. Yeah, dude. It's like they went through some kind of CIA brainwashing program and they're engaged by certain phrases. You know what I mean? Red Robin. Yum. Making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Living a life with so much worry, sure does take a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name. Boom, 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 boom. And they're always glad you came. Doom, doom. You wanna be where you can see your troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. It's a cool song about a place that ruins a lot of people's lives. It's like makes the bar sound like a noble place. Do 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 ah dun 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 dun. It doesn't matter what comes, fresh goes better in life. With Mentos fresh and full of life. Nothing gets to you, staying fresh, staying cool. With Mentos fresh and full of life. Fresh goes better, Mentos fresher. Fresh goes better with Mentos fresh and full of life. Mentos, the fresh maker. They got me, yep. It programmed me too. I'm trying to remember if there's any other jingles I remember. There was don't know if any of them are lodged in my head. I mean, that's an old school one, but I know that one. I wish I were an Oscar Mayer wiener. That is what I'd truly like to be. I wish I were an Oscar Mayer wiener. Then everyone would be in love with me. My baloney has a first name, it's Oscar. My baloney has a second name, it's Mayer. 'Cause Oscar Mayer has a way with Bologna. Berries and cream, berries and cream. I'm a little lad that loves berries and cream. Skittles. Taste the rainbow. Blueberry pie, blueberry pie, blueberry pie, blueberry pie, yeah. Blueberry pie, blueberry pie, blueberry pie, blueberry pie, yeah. Everybody loved the blueberry pie. 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 All right. $5 foot longs. The shit gets weirder when you realize that a lot of the reason marketing works this way, it's because of the incestuous link between marketing, propaganda, and Freudian psychology. Yeah. I mean, it's all about that, right? It's all thanks to Edward Bernays. Nephew of Sigmund Freud. Liberty torches, yeah. Yikes. Stripes. Fruit stripe gum. That's an old one. I gotta go. I'll see you guys later.